Today, we're diving into a story that's, well, it's almost hard to believe. We're going to trace the history of a single military unit, a regiment with an unbroken history that goes back almost 250 years. And its journey, it's like a mirror to the rise and fall of empires. So here's the big question, right? How on earth can one single regiment start its life working for a private company, then spend centuries fighting for one of the biggest empires in history, only to end up serving a totally new country? It sounds impossible. You see, our story doesn't begin with a king or a country. Nope, it begins with a corporation, the British East India Company. This regiment was first put together way back in the 18th century. It was a force of coast sepoys, local Indian soldiers hired to protect the company's business. But then things changed. The company's power faded, and the British Crown took over directly. The regiment was rolled into the British Indian Army, and it was here, under the Union Jack, that it was really hammered into shape, fighting in conflicts literally all over the world. And here's the twist, the part that makes this story so unique. When India was partitioned in 1947, the regiment was assigned to the new nation of Pakistan. And believe it or not, it's still serving today. It's just this one single, unbroken thread running through three totally different periods of history. Incredible.
All right, so to really get this, we've got to go all the way back to the beginning. And the crazy part is, for a unit that would later be known as a Punjabi and then a Baloch Regiment, its story actually starts in the south of India.
So, picture this, January 1st, 1800. In a place called Trichonopoli, the unit is officially raised as a regular battalion. Unlike a lot of units back then, it got a nickname from its first commander. It was called Generat Ki Paltan. And the soldiers, they were mostly Muslims, Tamils, and Telugus from South India. And they didn't waste any time making a name for themselves. Get this, in 1811, during a skirmish near Mysore, they marched 25 miles nonstop to help out another force that was retreating. A forced march. And they got there just in time. For that incredible feat, they were given the prestigious title Light Infantry. They earned it. Okay, let's fast forward a bit to the late 19th century. The regiment is about to spend more than 30 years in Burma and the Far East. In this period, this is what would truly shape its identity, right down to the uniform they wore. So while they were fighting rebels in central Burma, the unit captured the ceremonial sword. It's called a da, of a local chieftain. Now, this wasn't just some souvenir. It was such a powerful symbol of their victory that they made it a permanent part of their official cap badge. Think about that. A piece of their history worn by every single soldier from then on. And their tour in the East wasn't over. Not by a long shot. From 1900 to 1912, the regiment was shipped out to China. They were part of that big international force sent to deal with the Boxer Rebellion. Just another continent, another conflict for them. Then the 20th century arrives, and with it, the two biggest wars in human history. For the regiment, this was the ultimate test. This was their trial by fire, and they were fighting on a truly global stage. Just look at this footprint. It's wild. In World War I, they were fighting in Mesopotamia, that's modern-day Iraq, and then over to Palestine for the huge Battle of Megiddo. Fast forward to World War II, and they're sent into the meat grinder of the Italian campaign. And of course, that kind of service, it always comes with a heavy price. During the First World War alone, the regiment had 443 casualties. That is a huge number, and it tells you just how brutal the fighting was along the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. But then you get to World War II, and that number, it just explodes. It nearly triples. In the Italian campaign, the regiment lost 1,289 men. The battle to break the Germans' Gustav Line was some of the most savage fighting of the entire war. But out of that absolute carnage, you get these stories of incredible heroism. On May 12, 1944, a 19-year-old sepoy, a private named Kamala Ram, won the Victoria Cross. That's the highest award for bravery in the entire empire. 19 years old. Just a kid, really, and the youngest to win it at the time. Okay, so the wars are over, the world is completely different, and for this regiment, the biggest change of all is about to happen. The 1947 partition of India was this massive earthquake that would change their flag, their name, their whole destiny. And if you think tracking their battles is tough, try keeping up with their name. It's a history lesson all by itself. They went from the Madras Native Infantry to the 91st Punjabis, then the 8th Punjab Regiment, and finally, after partition, They were absorbed into the Baloch, now spelled Baloch Regiment. The names keep changing, but that core lineage just keeps going. And talk about a symbol of this new chapter. On March 19th, 1948, the regiment was given this incredible honor. They were chosen to present the Guard of Honor to the founder of Pakistan himself, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, when he arrived in Dhaka. What a moment. So let's just put it side by side. Look at this. It started as a unit of South Indian soldiers working for a British company. Today, it's a battalion in the Pakistan Army, made up of Pakistani soldiers. The transformation is it's extraordinary. You know, this whole story, it just makes you ask a fundamental question. What's the constant here? What's that unbroken thread that holds 2.5 centuries of history together through all of that unbelievable change?
Well, it's the simple fact that the unit itself has never stopped existing. I mean, think about it. It started with those coast sepoys for the East India Company. It was shaped by fighting in Burma, tested in the hell of the world wars, and then reborn as part of a brand new country. Through it all, it's never ceased to be. It's a living, breathing piece of history.
And that's really why this matters. The story of this one unit isn't just some obscure military history. It's a mirror. It reflects the huge continent-shaking forces that created the modern world we live in, from colonialism right through to independence.
Which leads us to one last big question. After all of this, all the changes in names, in the soldiers, in the very flag it serves under, what actually makes up a regiment's identity?
Seriously, what is it? Is it the country it happens to be fighting for? Is it the background of the men and women who fill its ranks? Or is it something you can't quite put your finger on? That unbroken thread of history, of honor and of service that connects a soldier today with one who served 200 years ago. Now that's something to think about.